All right. Hello and welcome to the second edition of the Full Court Press, the least professional NBA broadcast. Basically, the idea of this stream is that instead of listening to the broadcast itself, hearing a couple of suits ramble on about, stuff you clearly see in front of you, you mute the game, you sync up your TV to this and tune in here for some casual and hopefully entertaining and informational NBA conversation. Today, we've got game 2 of the Boston Celtics versus the Toronto Raptors in the second round. My name is Seth. I'm from Thornhill, Ontario. With me, I have Jahnick Lambert from Ajax, Ontario, Skyler Gonzalez from Markham, Ontario, and he'll be here soon, but we got the real MVP, Jai Moeth, all the way from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He's just waking from his slumber at the moment. But let's get started with some pregame stuff. So, Jahnick, I'll start with you. What do you think will be the key to tonight's game, and who do you see winning?
I'm taking the Raptors. I'm not betting against our team in any sense. But realistically, I'm thinking, besides their shooting that was atrocious last game, probably the three-point defense. Usually they're one of the best in the league. I think they're maybe top 5 as far as I remember. And last game, Celtics were shooting 43%, and you can't have that happen. So, and especially when you're shooting 25%. So fix the three-point line, lock up, guard up, and we should be good. But I'm going Raptors for sure.
All right, Skyler, who you got, and what is your key?
I also got the Raptors going because, like Jahnick said, man, I can't go against the hometown team, especially because knowing our history, we usually don't win the first game anyways. But for the keys of the game, I'm going to have to say, elephant in the room here, Siakam just needs to play better, man. 13 points is not good. I think he shot, 5 for 16 from the field the whole game. And as the team's number one scoring option on offense, that can't fly. There's no way he can put up that amount of points and us not being able to win. You know what I mean? So he's got to play better. But we do have a good overall squad, so we'll see what goes on. But, yeah.
13 is ugly.
Yeah, so personally, my key to the game, and Jai will get to you soon because he has arrived on the call, the real MVP, a bit late. Waking up from a schluff. But I'd say the key to the game, in my opinion, is the Raps half-court offense. So in their half-court possessions, Raptors scored 77 per 100 possessions, which is just – it's terrible. In comparison, the half-court offense of the Celtics was 104, which is actually pretty good for a half-court offense. And, yeah, kind of relating to the Siakam point, they seem pretty lost in general in the half-court. A lot of the pick and roll action wasn't working, and Van Vliet just had a bad game, which had to do with that because they had some big defenders to play on him. And Siakam from the post, he was trying to get stuff done, but he couldn't move guys like Ojale, and he still struggled against Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart. But still, I think if the Raptors can get some stuff done on that end, and I think maybe a possible solution would be to just feed Marcus All in the post, even though he hasn't really done that in a year. But just historically, he has been such a good passer off the elbow. And guys like OG can cut along the baseline. Same as Siakam, who he hasn't really done that because he's taken more of an on-ball approach, but he is good at it. I think if they do that, then that would be a very good strategy. And Jai, good morning, Sleeping Beauty. What is your key to the game? And also, we put you down as predicting the Celtics just to make things interesting.
You don't have a choice.
Okay. So we're going against my favorite team, but fair enough. First game was really interesting. I thought the Celtics played really well. Like, there's no doubt about it. They did shut down the Raptors on offense quite a bit. In the first quarter, I thought there were some dodgy calls against the Raps. But the most important part was, as Skyler and Jelani and yourself said, is the Raptors were not Jahnick, my apologies. The Raps were not knocking down shots. And that's the biggest thing is, I've heard, no Einstein here, but if you don't make buckets, you won't win the game. So, and I think they were just panicking a lot. Watching Gasol shoot was horrific that game. Also, Fred VanVleet, where were you the entire game? Spicy P, I know you're still young, and I know, yes, one day you can be the guy, but still, playoffs, you got to perform under pressure. Otherwise, Stephen A., Max Kellerman will come for your throats. So, honestly, this is a big game for the Raps. We don't need to hit the panic button just yet, but let's see what they do. For the Celtics, hey, you didn't have Gordon Hayward, and you guys came out and really put a whole class on the Raptors. So we'll see what happens in game 2. I hate that I'm going for the Celtics, but let's see them do it then.
All right, welcome back. Sorry for that technical difficulty. Sorry for that interruption. But now I think we're going to be back to normal. We need to switch from Zoom to Discord. So shout out to Discord for making this happen now. And Zoom, you suck with your 40-minute time limit. Why do that? I don't want to pay your plan. That's way too much money a month. Who do you think you are? But anyways, moving on, just to get back into the playoff stuff, we ended our conversation speaking about the Sixers moves, and I think that brings up something interesting about team composition, which has to do a lot with the Celtics, who in a way, they went through a rebuild similar to the Sixers, but they've kind of made, I guess, they've taken a lot less home run swings in the process, if you understand what I mean. The Fultz trade that kind of crippled the Sixers in a way when they traded the third pick and another pick for Fultz, who was the first pick. Meanwhile, they could have had Jason Tatum, and that he seems kind of like the perfect middleman between a Simmons and an Embiid. But because the Celtics, they stored a bunch of picks. They always made, I feel like the Schroeder move, the single, not the home run swing, to use an analogy I did. I think that they're in a much better place and probably a much better place moving forward. What do you guys think?
Yeah, the Sixers, their home run swing has kind of shot themselves in the foot, to continue your analogy if you want. Like waiting for Embiid, who was the better prospect out of his draft, but because of injury concerns, which continue to be a problem. Ben Simmons, best player out of the draft, at least top 3, but like it's not even inability to shoot. He just like doesn't want to shoot. He doesn't give a fuck. So like their problems are generally from like the mental makeup, I feel like, of the players in their team. Like the players who are like, if Embiid is the toughest guy on their team, if you want, he doesn't play like it half the time. That could be coaching, that could be attitude, but like they need to rebuild their team, but not just like focus on talent, but also just like mentally, like who are the players on this team? Like Jimmy Butler was a guy who was a dog, who was like, I'm going to make you guys work your ass off. With him gone, then they don't have anybody like that on the team anymore. So it's not. I think that like they'll fix some things. I don't know if Ben Simmons and Embiid is the future, but regardless of that, if they're going to keep both of them, they need more shooting, and they need someone who's going to like light their ass on fire.
Yeah, I completely agree because I think going as it is right now, I don't see Philadelphia necessarily getting any better unless, like, especially if they keep both Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I think they're gonna have to, trade one of them away because it's not, again, that's not a slight to whoever they want to trade it away because obviously they're both all-stars, they're both good players, but it's just, I think, like Jahnick said, the mental makeup of the team, and then just so for Ben Simmons, for example, his just not wanting to shoot threes for whatever reason, it hurts them so much, especially in crunch time and close situations, because it's like, why would you even attempt to guard him way out in the perimeter in crunch time? You know what I mean? He's almost just like dead space on the floor for you guys. That, and then on top of that, like how Jahnick said, they need someone that'll really get behind them and start drilling it into their head to start doing what's right and all that kind of stuff. So that person was Jimmy Butler for that last season, where I'm sure you guys have seen the video already where he's telling Joel Embiid to even shoot threes in the playoffs or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, little things like that, where they're going to get someone that has a reputation, who's established, and who's also like a quote unquote, like a hard ass on the team. You know what I mean? Guys that won't let you get away with bullshit. I hope I look good in that picture. If I don't look good in that picture, you better take another one.
I think I was mid-scratch my nose for that picture.
You better take another one if I don't look good.
Don't even try and act. This guy tried acting as if he got whacked by Buffalo over here.
Okay, so after this game, we got the Jazz and the Nuggets game at 8:30. What is your prediction for that?
That's a winner go home game, right?
Yep. Game 7.
You got the bubble.
I think I take our boy from Canada, Jamal Murray. I think I take him.
I don't know, because Donovan meant Jazz are what, the 3rd seed? Or 4th seed?
Jazz are 6, Nuggets are 3.
Yeah.
I have it completely reversed. Okay, so then in that case, yeah, I'll take the Nuggets and Jamal Murray, Jokic, all those guys. I think just purely off of like, look at how far they've come already, especially with Jamal Murray kind of breaking out in this series. I feel like him just kind of hopping in his Kobe bag probably for the last game, or like at least the last quarter, something like that, they'll be able to pull through.
Personally, I got the Nuggets. Jahnick, how about you?
Yeah. I think I was also on Nuggets too. I was like, I'm not surprised the Jazz are this good. But to me, the Nuggets were always better. So like, there wasn't like they fell behind in the series. Got some great play on the other side, but to me, Denver is still the better team.
I also thought that they figured something out in the back half of the series, starting Grant and Morris in place of Porter and Craig, just because Morris gets to fill in with some playmaking whenever Murray or Jokic doesn't have the ball in their hands, and also Grant, he does. Like, Craig's an awesome defensive player, but Grant's just a bit bigger and just a bit more athletic, so you get some more versatility there.
That guy's a very good role player, I find. Jeremy Grant. He does his job very well. Like, when he was on Oklahoma before, he played very well, like, fit his role very well, did what he needed to do.
All right. Drew, let's go to the highlights, buddy.
Brown trying to back.
Okay, so first highlight. Let's take a watch of this. Oh yeah, this is what we saw from the start of the game. That beautiful fade from, I guess, vegan legend Jaylen Brown over there. Like, just even that step, he's clearly polished his offensive game. He was more of just a 3-and-D guy for the past 2 years, even though he was an awesome young guy. But he's really worked on the in-between throughout this entire year. And although I wouldn't call that an analytically great shot, and I'm sure Stevens was probably not all that happy for him taking it, especially with, 14 seconds left on the clock, basically at the point of release, or 13 at the point of the release. But still, just the fact that he even got that shot to go in, it's kind of shown his progress.
Yeah, Siakam is very long. So to have him that close up in your face and make that shot over him, it's a good shot.
Now we're on to highlight number 2.
Yeah, you come off that weak side corner and matter on the court and the messages on the jerseys.
All right.
I don't want to say it weighed more heavily, but it's.
Oh yeah, was this?
On everyone here.
Yeah, right there.
Van Vliet against one of the best defenders in the
Yeah, I
game.
remember
Marcus
this one.
Smart, the shot clock down
Yeah,
to
just
4. Nice skip pass. And Anunoby for 3 switches it through.
this is
no
no good radio so
Knockdown
far.
3.
Weak side corner.
But yeah,
And it's a long way for
exactly. And Raps had terrible 3-point luck last game. Just awful. I think 25% to end the game, which their shot quality was actually pretty good. So I'm not sure necessarily if it was taking the wrong shots as much as just not knocking them down, but it seems like they've been doing that a bit better from 3 this game. Let me check the numbers to be 30%, so not great still, but certainly better than 25% of last game, as evident by that 3 from OG.
Who's that? Smart?
That's my boy. Time
Or is that
Lord
Robert?
himself, Robert
Oh,
Williams.
that's Robert Williams.
With that dunk.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the dunk.
I think
Yeah, he's a big boy.
going to be important going forward, especially they kind of. Yeah, they're pretty thin at
The
center.
physical
I like
presence he
Tice,
adds.
but I don't really see him as a
Long term.
exactly. And now we see. Speaking of Robert Williams, I mean, what a hustle play. Obviously, not the best landing, and he knows that, but I like him a lot. I think he's going to be a great player, and quickly in 12 minutes he has 10 points in this game on 5 for 5 from the field.
Oh wow! I bet you those numbers.
Give Taco some time. That's jokes.
If it get Taco in there.
Yeah, get Taco in there.
All right, so now we're back into the second half. Welcome to the program, buddy.
Can you guys
How's it
see me?
going?
What's up, yo?
Yeah.
Cameo.
Dinosaurs right now. How about them
Oh,
baby
God.
dinosaurs right now?
At least they
Little
weren't
Barney.
swept in the first round.
There we go. Hey, our best
Raine,
player was
you hear me?
injured. What can you do about that? You know? Yeah,
He
our
could
best
not
player
get
was
swept.
injured. Like, I'm sorry.
He cannot get
You know,
swept.
it's okay. Like,
TJ Warren
It's okay.
could have
Like,
stood
it
up
happens.
to
You were
his
just
enemy, Jimmy Butler.
hey, he played great. He played great. Jimmy barely guarded him either. Jimmy was dodging him. I was
He
pretty
still got the
surprised.
yell.
It happens, man. It happens.
Right.
You
And
know?
now Depot might be out the door.
Yeah, he's gone. It's okay. It's a bonus for best player, anyways.
we don't want him anyway. Said Depot
Yeah,
guy.
it's a bonus our best player, anyway. Dude, Depot's not the same, man. It makes me sad.
I feel like
That guy
Pacers
was the
fans,
best shooting guard in the union.
Oh, yes,
Pacers
sir.
fans are like people who work at a big company but don't want a promotion. They're just kind of happy to be there,
Come on.
right?
Yeah, you know, it's good. It's good. We'll be there soon. Hey, we're the state of basketball.
Federico!
Cardiac Kemba.
Good God.
Jai. That's
Yeah.
all, folks. That
wrap.
is all.
That's all, folks. That's down 0-2.
I can't wait for the Raptor slander to start
You hate to
today.
see it.
It's
You
fair,
hate
though. It's fair
That
Raptor
same
slander.
energy. It is.
Oh God, I'm not gonna like. To
At least
deal
it
with
won't. At least the slander won't be as bad as LeBronto.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's the all-time low on NBA Twitter for the Raptors.
We're past that phase.
LeBron was
Because
terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's when Colin Coward started calling them baby dinosaurs, and then so did Shannon Sharp, and then that thing just stuck. Even I still use it.
Let's start with real MVP. I know a lot of you want to say Marcus Smart with his 19 points and 6 for 11 from 3. Also that fantastic
Yeah,
flop
I got
that,
another
that
one.
didn't
I
work,
got
but
one.
either way.
I got
Who you
another
got?
one.
Who you got?
Off the bench for Boston, it was Robert Williams. He
Yeah, I
provided
mentioned
a big
him.
spark for Boston.
Yeah.
And I've just been really happy with his development. I was a big fan of him in college when he was playing for A&M, and I was a little disappointed when he dropped down in the draft. And it was mostly because he was people or NBA execs just like thought of him as too old school for like a prototypical center nowadays. But now, hey, sometimes you need that type of spark on your team still in 2020. So that's why I give it to Williams, and I think he's just a better fit for them at the 5. The Celtics just makes them do a lot more things.
Yeah, he was awesome this game. But you the real MVP. Like, maybe you guys disagree. I see myself looking towards 34, 8, and 6 from Mr. Jason Tatum, who did that with 4 for 7.
Unreal.
Just,
I think.
Yeah, I think. Oh, go ahead, Jack.
Oh, sorry. No, I think I agree with you on that, Seth. That he did play throughout the game. He was consistent and he really kept them still in the game. But if it wasn't for those threes from Marcus in that middle area where the Raps had a huge lead, I thought today was going to be the Raps game. Like, especially towards the end of the third quarter, I just thought, yeah, this is Raptors all day, every day. We had a massive lead. And then this guy starts hitting threes out of nowhere. It becomes Ray Allen. And he's moving as well on some of those shots. So I think because that was such a clinical period for the Celtics to get the win, I will have to give it to Marcus Smart. But I agree, Tatum did play a phenomenal game. Played like a leader today.
Jahnick, you going Tatum? You going Smart? You going Williams?
Gotta go Tatum. 34 is nothing to scoff at. 34, 30. Is it 34 or is it 30?
34.
Yeah.
34, yeah. Nothing to scoff at. He was getting buckets whenever we needed him to. Smart, yeah, same thing. Smart was getting buckets like toward the end, but like second, third quarter, I think he had 0 or something like that. I think all his points came in the first and the fourth. So he was balling out. But that 34 from Tatum.
Drew, hit us with the real MVP, because I'm going with Tatum as well.
You the real MVP.
Good stuff with that. Next, we are going to get to our other segments, but we actually have another question from Connor, who asks, as an optimistic Raptors fan here, what do the Raps have to do to win this series? Now, I think at this point it's unlikely. I want to, if I want to be like jokey here, I'd say get a time machine. But otherwise, Nurse is someone who he will go to very. They seem to be rudimentary styles in order to win games and win series. You saw this last year, famously boxing one, but he also did a bunch of other stuff. For example, the full court press he once did. There you go, bringing it to the show. So I think he's going to need to go deep in his bag. I wouldn't be surprised if he just throws full court presses in there more often. Obviously, if he does it every possession, it's going to be predictable. But just kind of shocking the Celtics possession to possession and trying out a bunch of new looks is probably their best way to go. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think for me the problem with the Raps is whether it's. I think it's. I don't want to put this on Siakam, but the Raps not having a guy does put pressure on other guys, and unless the guys show up like they're supposed to, it's going to make it tough. So like the Siakam now with 20 points this game, but not like a great performance. So to me, unless the offense gets a bit more creative, it's going to be tough. But all in all, it wasn't like a terrible game for the Raps. You gave up 32 in the fourth, like Smart's explosion. Hard to plan for that, and you got to make sure you lock up better. Focus on the Tatums of the world and make sure that they can't get buckets because he's also the one killing you. But yeah, so on defense, focus on Tatum, and on offense, gotta get more creative because Siakam is just not cutting it.
Raine, you guys have anything to add?
Yeah, so I think the Raptors, I think they got to do what they do best, and that's getting out on fast breaks and getting those easy buckets. And when you gotta like them in the half court against Boston, they're not gonna get. It's gonna be looking like that pretty much every game. So main thing is just getting that pace up and being more active on offense and sort of getting in transition, getting in movement, and also with that, since you're increasing the amount of pace that you're going to be adding into your offense, you got to spread out the bench a lot more too. So hopefully Nurse does that a little bit. And then once the Raptors get out there in transition, there are few teams in the NBA that can really stop it, and that's their key into getting back into the series.
Well, that's the
anything
thing.
else?
Yeah, you guys make a good point about how on those fast breaks the Raptors are ruthless, and that's sometimes what helps them win games. But the thing is, they need to be able to also sometimes when the fast break doesn't work for them, and then they're caught in this passing and this merry-go-round of hot potato, they tend to overdo themselves. They need to be able to relax, calm down, play well under pressure. And that's the thing is like, at the end of the day, if they're not making their shots, they're not going to win. Defensively, listen, they're good. They keep themselves in the game. It just comes down to being able to knock down shots that are important, clutch shots that close down, 4 or 5 point gaps. But I think if we lose this series, then a serious discussion is going to happen about going into the offseason and finding someone to help with Siakam, because I think Siakam is still too young and isn't going to be the main guy right now, especially considering the shoes to be filled are huge in Kawhi Leonard. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I still see Raps in Game 7.
I'm far from that personally, but I'd also just like to add, I know he only played 13 minutes tonight, and I know that Serge had a great game, 17 and 9 with 2 blocks pretty efficiently. Yeah. But go small. Try to get as active in transition as you can. And if you're not playing well in the half court, just try to create these almost semi-transition opportunities, which you've seen a lot of teams do, where they just run it quick right from the inbounds. And when you have Norm in there instead of a big, you can kind of afford to do that. Plus, it's not like on the other end, the Celtics are killing them with size in the front court. I mean, Tice and Williams are both like 6'9" apiece. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I could see them potentially moving to that, even though Siakam really hasn't spent much time at center, being that the Raps already have 2 great centers in Ibaka and Gasol. Yeah. Great's maybe too strong. Good centers. So next, I guess we'll move on to bona fide scrub of the game. I'm aiming Raptor just because they're the team that happened to lose. But at the same time, I like Lowry too much to consider his 5 for 16. Also, he was a plus on the defensive end. So, is the answer Siakam, even though he kind of filled the box score here at 17, 8, and 6?
Yeah, it's hard
for me.
It's hard to peg him as a scrub, but I think that's more like because of the expectations we have. I mean, Raptors fans have of him. Like, if you're the number one guy, we need more. But realistically, there's no one else who stood out in like as a scrub. Really, OG played a good game. He was great from 3, better than he usually is. Mark, we need more from you, but I don't know if I would call him necessarily the scrub of the game. Like Siakam to me needs to play better. He needs to expand that repertoire. Because like Ray said, like the transition works because of the length, the speed, and all that, and athleticism. But the half court, unless you got a mismatch, in this team you don't have one. At least not this game. Wasn't there. So gotta shape up.
Yeah, tough to watch.
All right, so I guess Siakam for scrub. So Drew, hit us with the clip.
Bona fide scrub.
There we are.
He can't play.
Okay. Okay, so now we're on to take that for data. Take that for data, aka stat of the game. Okay, so I'm scanning through here. I was originally at one point gonna say the free throw disparity, but that kind of almost evened out. So I'm gonna keep scanning here. If anyone else has anything they're thinking of, actually I have one. I have one that works perfectly. So, Celtics, 15 for 38 from 3, 39.5%. Awesome team shooting. You saw a lot from Tatum, of course, a lot from Smart. But Raptors, 11 for 40, 27.5%. They need to shoot a lot better from 3 moving forward. So, that'll be my choice for Take That for Data. You guys have any other stats you'd like to say?
Yeah, Tatum 14 for 14 from the line. I don't want to hear that Siakam arguing anymore. So
that the fourth quarter by Smart was my data. Take That for Data. I think he was at least 5 made threes in the fourth. Unreal shooting. That's got to be my pick.
And now it's time for me and Jahnick and Skyler, if he was still on the call, but he's not still, to do the loser anthem. So, Jahnick, basically,
Yes, sir.
you know Stephen A. Smith's famous bad day speech?
Yeah, I'm having a very bad day.
Yeah, so Drew's going to play that clip. Thankfully, Stephen A. Smith takes a lot of dramatic breaks between sentences. So we're going to fill in that between sentences with us repeating what he said. Almost like a pledge, a bad day pledge.
Got you.
Okay, so Drew, hit us with the clip.
I am having a very bad day.
I'm having a very bad day.
I'm
I'm
having a
in no
very bad
mood.
day.
I'm in no mood.
I'm in no mood.
This
Today
is one of the worst days
This
that I've
is
had
one of
in
the
a long
worst
time.
days
One of
that
the
I've
worst.
had in a
I'm
long
not in the mood to
time.
play with anybody.
And I'm not in the mood to play with anybody.
Not in the mood to
Yeah,
play
so
with anybody. It's a very bad day.
a sad day for Raptors believers everywhere, for sure. Jai, I feel like on some level you're happy now that I kind of forced you to pick the Celtics to make things interesting. Even though you're crying about the Raps, you can at least, you can be happy that I predicted it for you.
Jays go through, Raina.
I guess, yeah. Thank you for picking the Celtics for me. I'm happy about this win, but it's one of those wins, where you're standing on the sidelines and you're like, "Coach didn't play me enough." That's what it feels like right now.
Coach should have put me in.
Yeah, coach didn't put me
It's
in, but I still got the
bittersweet.
medal. I still got the ring, but coach didn't put me in.
All right, Drew, hit them with the Bro What You On for their great game picking.
Seize Nation, baby.
Bro, what you on?
That matched up perfectly.
Okay. There we are.
Jeez.
And I think that's it for us. Thank you very much for listening. My name's Seth Nevsky. With me, Raine, Jai, Jahnick, Drew coordinating the stream. Skyler, who was here for the first 3 quarters. Thank you very much for an awesome time. Thanks for listening. And hit us with the outro, Drew.
Both teams play hard. God bless and good night.